Narendra Modi has kick-started his mission Japan aimed at taking strategic and global ties with the Asian superpower to the next level. PM Modi hit the ground running as he got an agreement signed to model Kashi on the lines of Kyoto. The small city agreement was signed as the Japan Prime Minister received Modi at the Kyoto State Guest House. The agreement is about Narendra Modi's dream project of developing his parliamentary constituency as a 21st century city and yet retain its cultural heritage. This is Narendra Modi's first bilateral visit outside the subcontinent as Prime Minister. Modi has a substantive agenda during the 5-day trip, which he hopes will write a new chapter in bilateral relations and cooperation with Japan. The Prime Minister is travelling with a power-packed delegation of businessmen and industrialists. Big names like Mukesh Ambani, Gautam Adani, Azim Premji, Chanda Kochar and Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw are part of the Prime Minister's delegation. All right, we're talking about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Japan. The Prime Minister and his Japanese counterpart have signed a crucial agreement which will eventually lead to the upgradation of Varanasi on the lines of Kyoto. Sources in the government say that Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to remodel Varanasi on the lines of Kyoto, which is also an ancient city. The idea is to develop Varanasi as a smart city and yet retain its cultural heritage. Let's get a word from our Strategic Affairs Editor Gaurav Sawant, who's joining us on the phone line. He is in Kyoto tracking this strategic meet for us. Gaurav, a crucial agreement, I believe, has been signed between Japan and India, which is all about the upgradation of Varanasi. Can you tell us a little bit more about this agreement?
This is an extremely significant agreement, and this is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's dream project of taking Kashi to the level of Kyoto, retain its rich cultural and traditional heritage, at the same time develop it as a modern city like Kyoto is. You know, Kashi is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's constituency, and the Prime Minister is extremely keen to see it as a modern city. That is his effort. With this agreement, the country will study, India will study how Kyoto was made into a 21st century city, at the same time retained the rich cultural heritage of all its temples, of all the culture. There's zero pollution, there is emphasis paid on environment. There are several parameters how a city is declared a smart city, and the effort is to bring Kashi to the level of Kyoto.
Absolutely. And Gaurav, right now it's the beginning of Narendra Modi's 5-day trip. There's lots on the agenda. Are talks about Pakistan's increased aggression in Southeast Asia also on the cards?
Well, this is a bilateral visit, and this is much, much bigger than what is happening along the Indo-Pak border. Before he came here to Japan, he met Japanese journalists and told them how India was very keen to pursue good ties with Pakistan. But unfortunately, Pakistan had made a spectacle of the peace process by engaging with the Hurriyat, and this, as far as India was concerned, was completely unacceptable. So while the bottom line has been set, and sources say it's very unlikely that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will meet his Pakistani counterpart Nawaz Sharif on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York. But the doors for talks are always open, and that's a strong statement from Prime Minister Modi. The door for talks are always open. At the same time, it's for Pakistan to decide what is more important, talking to the Hurriyat or talking to the Government of India.
Absolutely. And Gaurav, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also accompanied by top Indian business leaders. So obviously a lot of commercial and business ties also likely to be discussed between both sides.
That is the main agenda of this visit. While developing strategic ties with Japan is high on agenda, it is investment in infrastructure that tops Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Japan. India hopes to double the investment that Japan has in India, whether it's developing 100 smart cities or investing in the Shinkansen, the bullet train, or energy. Nuclear energy, of course, is something that may not be on the cards this time, but there is an effort to soften Japan's stance to work towards clean energy. So there are several aspects where India and Japan are working close together.
Absolutely. And Gaurav, this is Prime Minister Modi's first visit as Prime Minister outside the subcontinent. Lots of expectations. Of course, the entire subcontinent will be watching these talks closely. What do you have to say about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's body language? Does he seem confident? How has he been interacting with his Japanese counterpart?
From what sources in the Ministry of External Affairs have told headlines today, the two met as old friends, as close friends. They fed fish together, and that is a tradition of bonding between two good friends. The Prime Minister presented a book to the Japanese Prime Minister. The two then went and, the Prime Minister hit the ground running. Witnessed the signing of this contract. Now at the State Guest House, the two had dinner together, and where we are expecting the Prime Minister at this hotel any time now, and we are hoping to hear from the Prime Minister. He's hit the ground running. This is only the first leg of his visit. There's much more on the cards. Tomorrow he visits the Toji temple, and beyond that, and after that, it is all about taking the economic ties between the two countries forward.
Absolutely. It's just the beginning of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 5-day trip, and he's hit the ground running, as our Strategic Affairs Editor Gaurav Sawant is saying. Within moments of landing there and meeting Shinzo Abe, the crucial Varanasi-Kyoto agreement has already been signed. This is designed to develop 100 smart cities in India, starting with Varanasi, which is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's constituency. We're also playing visuals of Shinzo Abe and Prime Minister Narendra Modi feeding fish, which is an old Japanese tradition. Gaurav, before I let you go, one last question. A nuclear and renewable energy agreement is also something that's on the cards.
Well, there is an effort to forge an agreement on the civil nuclear deal that is on the cards, but it may not happen on this visit. Even as we speak, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived at the venue, and
all right, we seem to have lost that connection with Gaurav Sawant. He's tracking Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Japan. The Prime Minister hitting the ground running. A crucial agreement has already been signed. We'll keep getting you updates from Japan. Do stay with us.